Hi, guys. Welcome back to Hey Babe, Guess What? I'm Cora.
Yeah, you are. And I'm Brian.
Today we're going to talk about um, this one thing that I kind of deal with.
Just one thing.
And and Brian he did it in his past. He doesn't do that anymore. We're going to be talking about reckless behavior, self sabotage, and also complex PTSD. So, what do you have to say on that?
Nothing. Let's go ahead and close off the podcast and we'll just be done. So I got nothing to say.
You have nothing to say? I feel like you have so many stories about being reckless, like lessons.
Of course. I was a dumbass as a kid. I was full of piss and vinegar. I was young and stupid. I didn't have any parents. I had parents, but I didn't have any parents around.
Yeah.
I was kind of out on my own. I was on the loose. I was a young teenage kid left unchecked, more or less. So I did all kinds of stupid stuff. So when I learned stuff, I learned the hard way, so to speak, and made a lot of dumb mistakes and did a lot of stupid things on purpose. Uh,
Mhm.
like you and I talked about before, I think plenty of people know and fully understand from the time we're young, we know we can differentiate between right and wrong. Um, and of course, it's a little bit subjective to some degree, but I think from the time we are young, especially in the United States, we're all kind of collectively under a similar umbrella under Christianity and that type of belief system. We all kind of have this inherent vision and idea of what right and wrong is. And I did all kinds of wrong stuff on purpose. So I knew when I was out getting drunk and getting tanked and getting stupid and getting in fights and doing dumb stuff, I knew it was wrong. And I knew it was destructive. And I knew it was not going to have any positive outcome, but it was fun and it was new. And to some degree, I think you get caught up in the peer pressure and then in the acceptance of everybody else. And, it seems like it's cool.
Yeah.
And you become like the talk of the school or the talk of your group or the talk of whoever. And it just becomes a thing. So,
Yeah. For me, I remember being in middle school and committing such a reckless, um, I'd have to say, I don't know, it was like a crime because we were like stealing. And I
right.
think I told you the story. And I did it. We were stealing this one girl. Um, I don't want to say her name out loud. Anyway, this one gal, there was like this group, and I really hadn't belonged to any one group. There's so many cliques and groups, And I was trying to fit in, and these girls were like, they kind of were like, they were popular, but they were like aggressive, and everybody kind of like respected them because they were like aggressive. And I tried to like work my way into that group, and then this one girl who's kind of a little entrepreneur, she was in charge. One of the teachers had put her in charge of the the soda machine, the vending machine. And what she did, she had the key and she would steal. We would all meet her there. It's like none of us realize they're going to be counting inventory over here. You know what I mean? Nothing's adding up. She would steal and we would go over there and she would load our pockets up with these different, like, you remember High C and
Oh,
it
yeah.
came the can form?
Oh, yeah.
So we would steal a bunch of that and she would sell it for like a little bit, less than, what she would say. Hey, do you guys want to like buy the, she'd be like, she's very aggressive. I can't say her name out loud, but, so we all got busted. Um, I had to go, like, I don't know. I think we just had to do like, I don't know, community service around the school or something. I don't know. It was really embarrassing. We had detention, the whole thing. I was so like, that lesson to me, like, I never hung around that crowd anymore, you know? And I had a best friend, and then, but I don't know, she was hanging with like a different crowd. I don't know. Seventh grade, they threw all these different schools in together, you know, all these different elementary schools go to, so everybody's really trying to seriously fit in. And I just literally kind of like distanced myself from them. And um, yeah. And it kind of like made me do different things in school, like volunteering to be on different committees and signing up for cheerleading and track and trying to do things that were more like on the up and up. And yeah, like for me, like that, and my grandparents were so disappointed in me, especially my grandpa.
Well,
Um,
when you're with that group, I remember as a kid, when you're with that, it's like anything else in life. Birds of a feather flock together. So if you're around people that are doing all that stuff and getting in trouble, then you're more than likely going to do all that stuff and get in trouble. And
yeah,
if you don't hang around them and you kind of change course like you did and got refocused and did other school related stuff,
yeah,
then not so much.
it was hard. I probably will not go to any class reunions, but I did not enjoy going to school with the people I went to school with. There was a handful of people I did, but I always knew I didn't fit in there and I wanted to be elsewhere besides there. But, you know, what other choice do I have? That was the only high school. Like
Right.
Kauai has 3 high schools, like back when I was there. I don't know what they have now. You know, have some private schools and stuff now, but um it was painful. I think being a teenager is painful enough, a preteen and then a teenager, and then just literally trying to fit in. And so for me to commit those, like being reckless and doing that, it was just like, I was like, oh, I don't want to be this person. This is not me. And, um, but you know, I think so for in high school. So I'm just trying to say that I really kind of was like the goody two shoes, and my sister would make fun of me. She called me a square peg. I wasn't, I felt a square peg was somebody who was very studious. And I wish I was studious because then I would have had more focus. You know, I kind of was just really floating around trying to fit in everywhere. And I have this vision of you being very popular in school, in high school.
Yeah.
I mean, I just do. I have this like,
It was a very small school. I grew up in a town of 10 to 14,000 people. So it was a very small school.
yeah,
I wouldn't say that I was popular. I'm sure most people knew me because it's a small town. And I was loud, obnoxious, and funny, and a class clown, and always in trouble. So I'm sure, but I was never really in sports because I worked,
yeah,
and I never really was involved in school stuff. Um, but one other really reckless thing that we need to talk about is just real quick, kind of as a sidebar, is this hair. So everybody on previous podcasts, I'm sure you saw one. Almost was we talked about it, but Cora wanted me to grow my hair out. So
you
this
look
is
great. I think like I'm excited when I move down there that I can
look at
help
this.
style
I
it.
can I can grab it. This is like super rare, everybody.
Yeah, yeah,
It's it's
yeah. This is good.
rarely, if ever, this long.
Well,
And
for
it's in
yeah,
this in between phase where I really can't do anything with it. So I've got to wait like another month for it to put another half inch on before I can really start doing anything with it. Because I got this, as you can all see, I got this cowlick, or I got these cowlicks
yeah,
in
you
the
have thick
front. I
hair,
got some cowlicks in the back. So
babe. You have
the thing that
luscious
men do for their women, Cora wants me to have longer hair, so I have longer hair. I'm being reckless.
hair. You have very thick, luscious hair. I'm excited for it that's coming in. Like I can't. You're a silver fox, and I'm just over the moon. I'm not twisting your arm. I mean, you wanted to grow it in. I'm not like trying to change you or anything. You're like, yeah, I don't care. I'll grow it in. So
You want to tell everybody why you want me to grow my hair?
stop it. Okay, now my kids can't watch this again. You're so rotten. Um, Back to being reckless. I
Yeah,
was
go ahead
reckless.
and tell everybody. That way we talk about being reckless.
Um, no, so I kind of always played this like good girl card. And I remember when I met my ex-husband, like he would tell me that that's the part he was attracted to, that I was like, because he was kind of like a rebel. He still is. And um he liked that part. And I think when you're so much like a rebel like him, you are drawn to the person that's like maybe a decent human. But for me, I experienced my worst reckless kind of like chapter when I was going through my divorce, and not proud of it. Back then, I thought I was living up. I thought I was like, I don't even know what I thought, seriously, because I just had drinks with with my girlfriend Jess the other night, and she reminded me. She goes, "Wow, you were so angry. You were so angry when I was going through the divorce, and you had met me too. So I felt bad that this is like you saw that, you saw the
Well,
whole gamut."
as we had touched on before, I would think it'd be a fairly accurate statement to say you met your husband, and from the stories you've told me, I don't know, I wasn't there, but from the stories you told me, it was kind of like forcing a square peg in a round hole from the beginning. There wasn't a
Yeah.
lot of real attraction. He smoked, and you're not into smoking. He did other things that you weren't into, and all of these items. But what people sometimes tend to do is they will let that stuff slide, and they know good and well that they shouldn't be letting that stuff slide, that they should make a different choice, that they should buck up, put their big girl or big boy pants on, and make the harder decision at that time, not the easier one, but the harder one, and move on in a more positive direction. Well, you didn't do that. And so what you have is you have this 20 to 25 or 30 years of animosity towards yourself because you knew you should have made a better choice
Oh, yeah.
or different choices, but you didn't, and you compromised pieces of yourself
Yeah.
um, for whatever the reasons were.
Hmm.
And then you went through that process. So then you got out of that bad situation. And then it was kind of like, "Bah!"
Yeah. I kind of cut loose, and that's just saying it very lightly. One gal, we were out. This was like 5 years ago, whatever, maybe 4 years ago. When we were out, and she there was part of my when I was dating and just being reckless before I met you, but I was separated, going through divorce. I had made a friend through one of the apps. I don't remember which one it was. I think it was Bumble. Um, this guy, and he had a motorcycle. So he'd pick me up at my apartment, and we go riding all over. And it felt so freeing. Like we had a helmet and everything, but I and he told me later, he's like, "Oh, you're such a great passenger." Because I just kind of like go with the flow. I'm not like tense or all that stuff. And there's a part of me that was like, you know, F it. I'm just gonna go and do whatever. And so this girl called me out, this lady. She called me out when we were all sitting there having drinks. She goes, "You're so reckless. You put your life in danger and you have like children, da da da." And I remember I was shocked. Her personality, that's how she is. She'll just like say whatever because, like, I don't know. And I don't even know her that well. So I was just like, why are you even asking me this question? But it always stuck with me because it's true. Like, why was I being so reckless? Even though my response to her was, I'm just trying to live my life. I'm trying to have fun. Well, you know what I mean? Being ridiculous. And my comeback was probably very weak, but I was just like, I'm over you, lady. Who do you think you are? You know what I mean? Um, but because I was, for years, everyone, I was a stay home mom and raising my daughters, doing all the stuff, driving them to dance and dance competitions in school, making lunch and snacks, the whole thing, gymnastics. I did the whole mom thing. And when I was going through the separation and the divorce, I, in my mind, felt like I was owed fun and I was like behind on fun and I was going to go and have it. It didn't matter if it was reckless. And to me, like, I feel bad because I was really out of control, you know? There's no
Unsupervised Cora.
unsupervised Cora, which I guess we can talk about I was looking up different things about being reckless, and I happened upon this one complex called complex PTSD, and I'm going to read it to everyone now. And it's from this one website that lists different like traumas, like it's just talking about it.
Right.
So I'll just kind of give it to you in a little nutshell. It's like complex PTSD is when individuals are exposed to repeated or prolonged trauma, such as childhood abuse. They develop a slightly different condition known as complex PTSD. This shares many similarities to PTSD, but also has some unique symptoms, including. So I'm going to read off the list, and you give me a thumbs up if you think that it's me. Okay. I didn't say double thumb.
Oh,
Okay, so here we go. Thumbs up if you think this is me. Poor emotional regulation, which manifests as outbursts of extreme emotions like rage and depression. Negative view of self. Jeez. I can't see your face. Trouble forming healthy relationships. Behavioral difficulties like substance abuse. Not really, just for like a stint. Impulsivity. You have to give a thumbs up, not a nod.
oh.
And destructive actions. Detaching from self. Yes. Detaching from self or reality. Yes.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, I almost said a bad word. Forgetting the trauma from my childhood. Losing core values and beliefs. So I don't see your hand motion. Okay. So yeah, I was reading that to you right before we went on, and you're like, wow.
Well, and it kind of stretches into, we all did stupid stuff,
Yeah.
but if we take the time, there are reasons why we've done this stupid stuff.
Yep.
And some of it's because we were just stupid, and some of it because we were intentionally angry and hell bent on burning the house down. I mean, if it's
Yeah.
going to go, well, then let's add some gas and let's add some fuel and let's burn this house down. So I think in many ways, your episode or whatever you want to call it, it was a lot of that, right?
Yeah.
It's you acting like a junior high student
Yeah.
with
God.
junior high logic and junior high reasoning and junior high. I mean,
It was like,
even when you listen to the things you said back then, you're like,
I'm
you're
ashamed.
in junior high.
I'm so ashamed. I think about it. And there was one, I was talking to my friend Jess last night, and there was one gal in our group, this group that I used to hang out and have fun with, who's kind of like the leader. And we're not going to mention names. And um, I felt like, I don't know, I just felt like she was going through stuff. So she gathered us all together, and I felt like it had become an episode of Real Housewives of Bend, which I think everyone even talked about like filming it. I mean, I'm going to say right now, it's one of my favorite. I don't watch a lot of reality shows, but I like the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. That's the one like thing I do watch. I'm kind of like giving up on the Kardashians because I'm just like, ugh. Um. Anyway,
Never seen an episode.
well, lucky you. Anyway, um, yeah, it had become oh gosh, it was like
Like a
being in
soap opera.
Tahoe and being like, I have pictures of people yelling at each other like this. And trust me, I started a lot of crap. I was an instigator. I was a gossiper. I was just like, I started so much. I burned so many things down. I accused people of things. I was terrible to people. I was terrible to you when I was with them. But this one ringleader, man, she would just step back and be like, watching it all burn down. um, you know, I take full responsibility for what I did. I I There's two great gals. I was so immature, and I accused them of these things, and I texted them these mean things. I was like, I'm embarrassed to this day. Like, I don't blame them for not talking to me anymore. They've remained friends. These two, three women, they're great friends, and I'm happy for them because we're still friends on Instagram. So we follow each other on Instagram, right? But for me, when I see them put their family things, or one of them got engaged, and great things happening in their lives, like I get happy. I'm happy for them because I'm in that space now. And oh, when I was in that ugly gossip, like I didn't know how to. And you guys, mind you, I'm a grandma now. I'm a grandma, but back then I was a mom and of two adult children, acting like I'm a preteen, not just like a regular teenager, a literal like 13-year-old.
Well, all the venom and poison that you accumulated and stuffed in on yourself for the things you compromised about yourself for 20 to 25 years came out.
Yeah, so ugly. Trying to fit in and trying to be cool and wear, well, I like dresses, but just so hyper focused on, oh God, I almost said a bad word. I just selfish.
It was like a junior
Selfish.
high student wanting to sneak out and their parents saying, "You can't wear that," and you can't tell me what to wear.
Yeah.
That was you
I
to a
was
T.
I was embarrassed one time because we went out to one of the gals. Her husband was super generous and he was really nice. He got her booked this weekend in Hood River, and we all rode jet skis. It was so fun. So fun. We had so much fun, and then we all drank and stuff, and everybody got in the craziest, like, shenanigans, and there's karaoke, and there's, like, people were, like, riding through, like, I think they used, like, a shopping cart as their mode of transportation because they didn't wanna walk, and there's, like there's so much stuff that went on. But I remember I wore this really tight, bandaged, like, dress. Like, we were all dressed, like, sexy and trying to be, like, really cool and stuff, right? And I had just gotten my boob job, right? And, um, this one guy that one of the gals, she had this one date, he had showed up and he came to the dinner also. There was, like, a huge table of us, like, 10 of us, right? And he showed up, and I'm in my mind, I'm thinking, "Ooh, I look great." Like, "Ooh, yeah, I look ooh, like, I'm loving the way I look." Like, I was the weight I wanted to be, and my body looked the way I wanted it to be. Like, I was so stoked, you know? You guys, I had had surgery to look like that, and now I've gained weight. But anyway, I'm just coming clean here. So, I had worked out to get the weight I wanted, but I had got a tummy tuck and a breast boob job. So, anyway, so the guy was staring at me, and the gal, that one of the gals, she goes, "Stop staring at her." She was, like, getting upset with him. She's like, "What are you doing?" And he goes, "I can't help her. Her boobs are sticking out." That's what he said. He's like, "It's just huge. It's there." And it was me. And I was just like, "What?" I was so ashamed. So I take my hair, put it in the front, feeling really embarrassed. My face was, like, burning up. And I'm thinking, what am I expecting? My boobs are popping out, you know? Part of my reckless behavior is just like, um, and now that I'm a grandma, I'm just like, I looked at our bring it back to the boob thing, looked at our other video that I posted on movies, and I'm like, why did I wear that blouse? This is so, and then I have my hair up, but I'm wearing a low cut. I'm like, no, I have to like rethink what I wear. And I have most times, you guys, I have to wear like a tank top because I get hot flashes. And if I'm wearing like I had a cardigan on earlier and I started burning up like instantly. It was so bad. Um anyway, back to being reckless. Like for me, that whole time, that pink dress era, whatever, that like I didn't think about I only thought about one person and that was me. And it was super selfish.
Well, the irony being you survived a narcissist and became somewhat
Yeah.
of a narcissist.
Yes. Totally. Yeah, he rubbed off on me and I had
For all the piss
become
and
accustomed.
vinegar that used to talk about him, and I'm so mad about the narcissism, and it's
Yeah,
probably all true. I never met him, so I don't know, but it's
yeah,
probably highly likely. And so, for all of that stuff you didn't like, and the
yeah,
stuff that you didn't appreciate, and the stuff that made you not want to be with him,
yeah.
you became.
I became him. And I have so much like regret that I can't go back and change and all that ridiculous crap that I said and I did and I put people through. But, you know, um, I think we all like learn from falling on our face. And
Absolutely. That's what mistakes are for.
yeah, I remember like the year before, like I think it was my daughter, oldest daughter Victoria was her senior year, and we had gone to Hawaii for my grandpa's 90th birthday, like as a family. So we go there. My grandpa, I think I get this from him, where he's a little bit antisocial. He passed away, you guys, but sweet, sweet guy. Didn't want everybody to make a big deal about him. So his children, my dad and my Auntie Myrna and her husband, Uncle Paul, he has another sibling. They put on this huge like dinner overlooking the ocean in Kalapaki Bay. It was so beautiful, and there's like so much, like everyone, all the grandchildren, like everyone traveled there for his 90th from all over, and um, he didn't show up, you guys, because he just didn't want to show up. But everyone took turns standing up and saying something great about him, right? So my sister decides to use this platform of standing up in front of everyone. And I love her. We talk every day, but this is such a sibling thing to do. And I was a little confused why she did it, and I was really upset with her. But she took this opportunity to call me a princess in front of everybody. And she was like putting me down and kind of laughing about it. And the room was quiet because I'm sitting there. I was like, I turn to my ex-husband and I'm trying to look to him for some like help. He's enjoying it, literally loving it. My kids were shocked because they know like I would never throw her under the bus in front of everybody like that. I don't know what she was feeling, but she took the opportunity to like, let's just take Cora and huck her under that bus. So, but coming back to it when she called me a princess, and so like how that one gal called me reckless, that always stayed with me and then I think about it, I'm like, you know what? Probably the way that I would act over the years as my ex would have a better income and we had a better lifestyle. I'm sure there's so many moms in that one plate town that would raise the kids. They probably don't like me. There's probably a lot of dance moms that didn't like me. I bet a lot of people, I was so reckless when I was a dance mom too. Like I was just like, it was so catty. I felt like being a dance mom, if I could take one thing I could change, I have ADHD, so I'm all over the place, you guys, is to never step foot in the studio and just let that be my children's thing and never have conversations with the dance moms. Because as we well know, I I've never dealt with any of my childhood trauma, and being in a relationship with a narcissist and then being put in this catty for years, everyone years. I was a dance mom. I wish that's the one thing I could change, is to never step foot in the studio and never make friends with the dance moms. Like not one, maybe one or two. I think I'm friends with one right now, so I can't just say that, but maybe two. Because, and that's, what's so funny is that gal who told me, who I'm friends with, her name's Kim. I remember it was years ago when the girls were little, and she goes, I'm going to give you a piece of advice about being a dance mom, because she'd been doing it years before me, right? She goes, the dance moms are not your real friends. She goes, they are your acquaintances. We all hang out here when we're at dance or at competitions. She goes, but they're not your real friends. And I was like, wait, what are you talking about? Like, for me, I think if someone's nice to me, oh my gosh, we're such instant friends. We like each other. Like in my mind, you know?
Yeah.
So like, I don't see things for what they are. Like I just did not have that. And especially like, I'm sure people are like, if someone's making fun of me, I wouldn't get it right away. Like I didn't understand that they were like making fun of me and stuff. And it was so catty. It was just insane. I don't know how we got on this subject, but
Going down the rabbit hole.
Do you remember like one of the last reckless things you did where you were like, okay, forget, I'm so done with this like behavior of mine and I've got to change? Because you were ripping and running and clubbing and seeing a lot of women and
Yeah. I mean, drinking, drugs,
drugs. Okay, yeah,
dancing.
drugs.
I mean,
Ooh, dancing.
I,
Oh my God. Sorry.
I did all kinds of drink and drive. I mean, you name it. I was out there doing all of this stupid stuff that a young guy full of piss and vinegar would do. So
Well, and you're good looking
um,
too. So I feel like you could be like, it looks, probably looks good on you. You know what I mean? It's like being like,
one of the last changing moments for me, I ended up getting a lot of trouble, and I deserved it. Deserved every ounce of it. Probably 10 times more than what I got. And I ended up having to take a county mandated class for violent guys like me.
geez, Louise.
And it was I think it was a 36-week
Gee.
class or something like that. It was long,
Mm-hmm.
and you're required to do piss tests and take lie detector tests and all kinds of stuff. So anyway, I remember it was like my third or fourth class, and I was so pissed off that I was in this class,
Yeah.
and that's my platform, right? Is anger. So anger and violence. That's where I come from. That's what I know. That's what made me and shaped me. So I'm in this class, and the counselors are doing their thing, and they were, as it ends up, they were fabulous counselors, extremely smart, extremely articulate, intelligent, capable, skilled. And as they're giving me this class, I'm thinking, I'm going to follow this mother effer home, and I'm going to, when they get out of their car, I'm going to beat the shit out of them, and I'm plotting and planning. I'm
How
plotting
old
and
were
planning
you?
all this. Oh man, this is years and years and years ago. This is like 20 plus years ago. So I'm sitting in this class that I'm in because I'm violent, plotting and planning how I'm going to follow these counselors home and beat the shit out of them.
Oh my God.
And then the irony struck me. And I was like, oh, huh, that's probably why I'm here.
Hmm.
And all of a sudden, a light clicked on. And I thought, man, I probably better pay attention. And so, anyway, I went to the class and passed, of course, and because you're required to pass.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't let you finish until you pass. So, anyway, when I was done, I knew that personally I was not done. And so I volunteered for, I don't know, another 6 or 8 years and helped out as a counselor at the class.
Mm-hmm.
And it was more selfish than it was anything else because I knew that I still needed tons and tons of work. And I knew I wasn't done and I still needed tons of help. So these two counselors were phenomenal. And I had felt like I had made good progress when I was with them. So it just made sense for me to kind of hang out and stick around and try to help others. And at the same time, while I was helping others, that I was going to help myself.
Yeah.
That was one of the last real big from being destructive. That was a big turning point for me. That was a life changing event and a life changing moment that really recalibrated my course pretty drastically. So it was meant to happen.
Yeah.
I'm thankful. I mean, back then, of course, it sucked, but I'm thankful that it did happen. And,
Mm-hmm.
I believe in God. So I think God orchestrated all that to happen at such a perfect time that I was open to it, that I was susceptible, that I would be vulnerable and available to listen to the message that was being given. And it all happened in perfect timing. And that was kind of one of the last big reckless events that led me there. And I've tried to do better since.
So you must have been in your 30s then, or late 20s.
Yeah, could have been. It's at least, it's a minimum of, that's a minimum of 22 years plus ago.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah.
Babe, I'm going to be 53 in a couple weeks.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to remind you of my birthday,
yeah,
but no, I was talking to my daughter, Victoria, today, and she had told me some news about this one event that is scheduled on this one day. And she goes, you won't believe what day it's scheduled for. And I said, my birthday. We won't announce my birthday here, but I was like, so I said the day and she goes, yep. I'm like, wow, that person must be very excited that procedure is on my birthday. So now, I forgot to tell you. So now I'm just trying to be like cryptic here. So maybe that's good luck for that person. Who knows?
Who knows? Maybe they're like me. A birthday is just another day. It means nothing.
Oh, well, when I move down there, it's going to be different. We're going to be celebrating all kinds of stuff. It's going to be so exciting. You don't even know what's coming. Get ready. But I want to go back to childhood trauma, the complex PTSD. It's crazy how I check off everything, all the boxes for that. I think I told you when
I used to.
Huh?
I used to.
You used to, but you've worked on yourself since doing that program and volunteering for like 8 years, you said? That's a long time to volunteer. Like,
I don't know if it was 8, but it was a stretch. It was a long stretch.
wow. So you would go there like after work or the weekends or?
No, they had certain days that they would have classes and meetings. It wasn't every day. So I would attend when I could.
Yeah.
Typically, they always had a Saturday class, so I almost always made the Saturday function.
So it's kind of like AA, but for violence.
No, it's more of a cognitive behavioral correction.
Oh, okay.
And they don't let you get away with anything. It's right down to the words that you say. Like, let's say you and I get in a fight, and let's say I slap you, let's say, and I tell my buddies, well, we got in a fight, and what I do is what's called image building. I make you look bad first. Well, she was drinking, and she was drunk, and she was super belligerent, and because she was mouthing off, well, I barely even tapped her, and that is image building, right? When reality is maybe you weren't doing all that, but I got to make sure to sell it to everybody else first, and then I slapped you, but I'm going to make it sound like, I might have, so what they do is they pick out every little error and they grind. They don't let you get away with anything. No. And you have to write this letter at the end. It's called an empathy letter.
Mm-hmm.
And this empathy letter points everything at yourself. It can have no blame anywhere. But it also has to show empathy. And so what holds guys up in this class to pass, it's the last project of the class. And there are guys that go weeks and months having to redo it because we are so programmed and so addicted and so ingrained to blame everybody else.
Yeah.
Not our fault. It's everybody else.
Yeah.
So it's a very hard project to pass because there is at no point that you are doing that. And if you do, well, sorry, regret it.
Yeah.
So it was an extremely good exercise, extremely good class. Um, it was very eye opening. It was a good lesson. Um, and it can be argued even without that kind of stuff. I've heard people tell me I'm reckless all the time because I dive with sharks, I jump out of airplanes, I climb on top of planes as they
Yeah.
fly. Some people consider that to be reckless.
Hmm.
Um, Not the same, I think, is what we're talking about, but some
Yeah.
people consider that to be reckless.
Yeah. Like how when I got on the back of that bike, that gal was like, "You're so reckless with your life and you have children." And
Right.
I think you can look at it different ways. For me at that time, I was trying to, I think, feel like excitement and freedom. And it's something that I would have never done. And this is somebody I'm getting on the back of the bike. I'm not married to this guy, but I'm just jumping on the back of his bike. And I'm still married, but I'm like out here riding on the back of this bike and going all over the place. And um, that was part of the excitement of it for me. And
Yeah.
knowing that I was being reckless too, but I still did it. And that was the exciting part, knowing that people were like, "What?" And I was like, "Yep."
Well, I think too, if you go back to this period of time when you were certainly not making the best choices, it could be argued, it might be a fair statement and a fair assessment to say um, it was extremely reckless.
Yeah.
But I think for you, you were trying to garner some type of, like you said, excitement and do things. You didn't feel beautiful in your marriage. Well, if you run around with all these guys, well, all of a sudden they're giving you all kinds of compliments. And oh
Yeah.
my gosh, you're the most
Coulda just
beautiful person in the world.
found a good one and
Right. So then all of a sudden you're on whatever dating app. And well, man, I got 1,000 likes. All of a sudden you're
yeah.
feeling validated. You're feeling attractive. You're feeling
Yeah.
whatever.
Those dopamine hits,
Right.
the validation, because I don't know, I think because I had been married to a narcissist, my therapist told me when I went to my therapist for like over a year, but he helped me with some stuff. I just have to say, I shouldn't say stuff. He helped me with we unpacked a lot of things and he helped me realize my worth. And he did say that the reason my ex I would get dressed up, do my hair and makeup, get dressed up, walk out and zero, like crickets. You would think that your spouse is going to be like, "Oh, honey, you're so beautiful. Look at you." Oh, like normal relationship, loving, kind, um, endearing, appreciative things to your spouse. Nothing. Never said anything. Would look me up and down and go, and then walk away. Was so upset. And so I always was like, "Ooh, God, I'm not like, I really was like, oh God, I'm just like, I'm an ogre." Like I felt like I felt sick to my stomach every time. I had this like pit in my stomach and I knew it was coming where I would get the up and down look and then the ignoring. But for me, like I liked doing my hair and my makeup and wearing something cute. But my children were the ones who'd be like, "Oh, mommy, you look so beautiful." And I didn't do it for the kudos. I'm a woman. I like getting dressed up. I like doing all the feminine things. I like looking cute for myself. But for years, I was told that you know, not by with words, but with like no words. So my therapist told me that I was competition for the narcissist. This is why Like they just literally could not bring themselves to compliment me. And back then it was just so gut wrench. It was just so hard to live that life. Of course, now it's like, you see who that person is.
Right.
Um, I don't know what track I was really trying to make a point. Ugh. I don't know where I was headed. Oh
Headed down the
no.
rabbit hole. Headed down the
Uh,
rabbit hole.
um, I was really gonna make a point.
Well, good job. I believe you.
Anyway, when I watch this back or we watch it back, I'll be like, dang it. Now I know what point I was to make. Anyway, the I think we were talking about being reckless and that whole deal. Um, oh, I know why. Because I'm looking at the list, and one of the things says negative view of self.
Mm-hmm.
I think being with a narcissist will plant that seed in your brain, and it just grows
Yeah.
and it grows.
Yeah.
And if I have that negative view of self from my childhood trauma, and then that person takes that seed and plants it in there, it's like this whole, you know, forest in my head of negative view of self. So,
Well, narcissists too, if you I'm sure you've read,
yes, I
they
am.
it's no different than a guy looking for a victim. A
Yes. Ooh.
narcissist goes and finds their victim. You were his victim.
Yeah,
He of course, when he first met you, he didn't let all of his cards on the table right away, but you
yeah.
exhibit things that it doesn't take very long to figure out. And so he, like blood in the water for a shark, he could smell it from 10 miles away. He picked you. You're gorgeous. You're beautiful. The things that would make a
You're
narcissist
just
feel good.
you're just sweet.
And he knew that he could be a narcissist with you. And you were not the type of woman to go, I don't think so, chump. You would just do what you did.
And you know what's crazy? And I've read this before. There was a part of me that, after experiencing years of the narcissistic abuse, I stayed because I convinced myself no one else knows how to love him the way I love him. And I
Well,
didn't really, but
and the money
no
and the
one knows
money
how to
didn't hurt either.
what? Oh yeah, and the money didn't hurt either.
And the
And I was
money
very
didn't hurt
comfortable.
either.
Not just that, I wanted it was so important to me to be a family. So it's something I had always wanted, and I tried so hard to keep us as a family. And that was like my dream, you know,
Yeah, absolutely.
to have a loving family. And so, boy, I wish people would have told me their opinion freaking like years ago, like after I had Julia. So I would be like, okay, bye. And let me just figure it out and whatever, you know. I wish I would have had the balls. I wish I would have had this courage to tell them off, because they're scared when you tell them off and you're onto them. And but I had been in such a he knew how to put me where I was like I he could, like you said, he could see me coming. And I think he tapped into my childhood abuse. Like he understood my weaknesses and my
Mhm.
vulnerabilities, and he used it for his profit, for his gain. And I raised my children in this environment.
Yep.
I raised my children in this environment, and um
And sadly, that has had an effect.
yeah, has an effect. And I was just talking to my older daughter today, But when I talk to her, and she is such an amazing fiance, Kale. I love saying that word. It's so funny. It's like when we get engaged, I'm not telling you to propose to me, but you guys, we all are going to be like engaged one day. Um, could be tomorrow. I don't know. But um, whenever I talk to them, and it's really sweet because they're such a team, and they, when I talk to them about something, Kale is, he's so like insightful, and he has such a big heart, and he always they balance each other out so well, and it makes me so happy for her because I know I was there. I did things that, like, I know that my kids aren't happy about. My anxiety, they had a mom who was like anxiety ridden, like depressed. I would cry. They would see the, you know, their
Well, think
parents
of what
not.
they developed and what they witnessed and what they absorbed as their vision of a man and a husband.
Yeah. They have which I have to give it to them. They're adults. They individually have good relationships with him. And in the when I was going through the divorce, I felt betrayed when I heard that they went over to his house or whatever, right? So, it seems silly. But back then, because I had gone through so much, I felt very like it was an ugly divorce. And I had felt very like betrayed if they were like, if they said one good thing about him, I would get so upset. But now
Remember,
things have gone the way they've gone, time has gone on. I want him to be there for his kids. And I'm very grateful that they both have a good relationship with him. They, in their own way. So whatever they happen to them as kids, like they are going to be able to process it and get help if they want or whatever. But yeah, they witnessed my recklessness when I'm going to bring it full circle. They witnessed me being reckless when I was going through the divorce, and I'm ashamed of that. And I've apologized to them. I think I've said it in another episode. And I apologize to you, but that's just going to be years of trying to get over it because I just feel like so terrible.
well, but as we've talked about plenty of times, there's plenty of people that get bogged down in all that crap that you can't change. You can't go
Yeah,
backwards. You're wasting a ton of energy. The only
yeah,
thing that's going to solidify and prove that you're really sorry or that you truly uh, regret those items is to, from here moving forward, be better.
yeah. And you
Because,
guys,
because if you don't, then you're just full of crap.
yeah. And you guys, I've fallen on my face the past week, the past 2 weeks. Like, relationships are work. And Brian reminds me, he texts me every morning something very, like, always encouraging to work harder, that we're a team. You guys, it's very, like, it's uplifting, and it's such a great message to receive from your partner in the morning. And so I was like, I need to send him things in the morning. But I'm like, what would he want to hear? I don't know. I'm going to figure it out so I can participate fully and send you really endearing things too. Um, but I think
Is that a wrap?
it's a wrap. I really liked this conversation that we had, and I always feel like it's therapy when we do talk and when we have it down here for others to see, you know, because it
Yep.
might trigger something for someone and be like, oh, I need to talk about, I need to, like, that's so true, or that's a that's helpful, and I went through that too, kind of thing. So
Well, and as we've mentioned in previous podcasts, anybody out there listening, you guys can put comments and you can if you want something talked about, you want some topic, you want us to talk more about this or whatever. Matter of fact, tell you what, if we could somehow even invite somebody on here and interview them and
Yes,
chat with them too. I mean,
we will.
whatever.
We will
We're open to
definitely.
all that stuff.
Yeah, we could totally have a
Somebody
guest. That
else,
would be.
somebody else has had an experience, and we can talk through it. We can listen,
Yeah,
whatever.
that would be awesome. I would love that. Well, do you want to sign us out, or
Well, very deep subject.
it
Well,
is?
you guys have heard our spiel probably, I don't know how many episodes we have now, 8, 9, 10, 11, somewhere in there, but
And
you guys have heard it. Please hit the like button. Please share with your friends. Check
hit
us
the
out
bell.
on all the other platforms. You know how this stuff works. This isn't new. We'd really appreciate any support that any
Yes,
of you are willing to provide or, share with your friends and family.
yes.
Yada, yada, yada.
Okay, that sounds great to me. I will probably FaceTime you right after this. So
Okay.
thanks, you guys. Thanks for hanging out with us. And I hope you guys got some entertainment and some insight. So,
Absolutely.
okay.
All
See you,
right. Love
babe.
you.
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye.